Welcome back, everybody, to the World Championship Series. It's time to move on from Group A. It's time to go in to Group B. To help me do that, joining me on the desk is In Control and Todd. And a fantastic start to the day here. Group A was brilliant.
Jeff, you're usually the first one to jump in very quickly.
I'm always here. I'm waiting for you, Todd.
All right. Yeah, it was a great start here.
Say, Group A was a great. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whoa.
Don't punch me in retirement, bro.
You're the specialist for this. Let's keep it serious,
yes,
guys. Anyway, yeah, great start. A lot of good games. Like we always say, you know, we're gonna see good games, but doesn't really get any better than this. Like these, what a game. We're just saying.
I know. I agree with you, but it is funny because it is our job to be like every game's an amazing game, but actually, those were good games.
And let's hope Group B is as well, because we've got some players fighting for contention as well. We have 3 players left in Group B. We can take a quick look at the bracket, as we already have 1 player who was advanced in first place the other day, yesterday, Thursday, Tuesday. Betrayus, GunGFuBanDa and Sen fighting our next match.
Can we start over?
With, yeah, can we just all do this again, including you two? GunGFuBanDa versus Sen is the game upcoming, and the winner of that will go up against Snoot for a place to go through in 2nd place.
Interesting match. I think both GunGFuBanDa and Sen have something to prove. I think neither of these guys have a lot of people that are like, oh, these are the guys to look after. So it's kind of up to them to, in this elimination match, say, hey, we have a shot. And then I think what's interesting is kind of like in Group A, one of these guys will then have to play the, I don't know, the killer or whatever you want to say, the guy that's going to have to be the spoiler. Like, it's also Snoot that has a chance to go to BlizzCon. It's also Snoot that if he were to lose here, would get very emotional, upset, and rightfully so. This is not where we expect him to be.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our first match then. Let's talk some about Sen. Sen came into this weekend. We didn't really know what to expect from him, but he played pretty well against Snoot in his first match. He lost it, but he still played pretty well.
We were saying, for those, I mean, a lot of us, I mean, we all watch these games, but I was actually lucky enough to cover these games in Burbank for the round of 32. Sen looked worse winning or taking 2nd there than he did losing his first best of 3 against Snoot. Like, I thought he played a lot better there, much crisper, better mechanics, decision-making was on point, and yet he still lost. So now we see him here in this matchup, and he's going up against GunGFuBanDa, who I mean, go ahead, Todd, talk about GunGFuBanDa, but I think it's a great match. Yeah, it is. The thing is, with Sen, he's a living legend. Like, he comes here, he's one of the guys that practice. Actually, he is the guy. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. He's the one guy that practices the least when he's there. He's like playing Facebook games all along, sleeping, getting some food. That's it. And I asked him about it, and he was like, well, it's not really about the practice that you get 2 days before your match. It's all the practice that you get before that is going to be important. And it really showed that he's been working hard in some of his recent games, but at the same time, he's had a little bit of inconsistency. So now up against somebody like GunGFuBanDa, who's one of the new kids on the block that's working very, very, like on the contrary, GunGFuBanDa backstage, he's chaining back-to-back ladder game. He's not stopping, and he's very high ranked on the European ladder. It's a huge contrast that there is between these 2 guys. And at the end of the day, Sen, with all of his experience, I do think he's going to have a decent chance here against GunGFuBanDa. Yeah,
GunGFuBanDa played in the Season 2 finals. He traveled with us to Toronto, and now he is in Season 3, advancing in first place again in the round of 32. Remember, he did that in Season 2. He's done it again in Season 3. He travels with us to Poland, and this is a continued big moment for him.
Yeah, he's 17 years young. He's one of the youngest players here. He's, as you said, very consistent in that he's doing fairly well. But I have to say, and I kind of like this for this format, same with Mana. His first series, not the best. It's really sad if that would be the way that we sign off on them, but it's not. We get to see them here. GunGFuBanDa, you got your back up against the wall. You have a very beatable, but yet still scary and worthy opponent in Sen. Show us what you got.
What do you think GunGFuBanDa's done the last day? Because he did qualify on Tuesday, had a free day on Wednesday, coming into Thursday. He knew he'd have to play against 2 Zergs in a row. What type of preparation would he have put into this?
I think watch a lot of VODs, play a whole bunch of ladder, and think a lot about his match. Is probably the way he went about it, to try and make some good adjustments from when we last saw him. And if he comes to the right conclusion. At the same time, though, much like I talked about, Sen is a very hard opponent to get content on unless you're studying Facebook games, which is also a professional if you see him backstage. So Yeah, it's very hard to really study anything from him.
How would you rate GunGFuBanDa's performance against Betrayus? Because he's already played one Zerg in this tournament, and it was a very difficult game. We saw how well Betrayus played, but how well did GunGFuBanDa play against him?
He played okay. He's one of those players that's not going to mix it up too terribly much. He actually gets kind of a reputation as having some pretty cheesy builds that he does do, but lately we've been seeing a much more kind of monotonous, like very straightforward Stalker-centric style from him.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but Betrayus outclassed the entire group. It looked amazing. So we need to see more from him here. I feel like if he's going to beat Sen's going to be the guy that's going to be taking risks and doing things differently. It's got to be GunGFuBanDa that either is the rock-hard wall that just won't bend, or he's going to be the guy that has to adapt as well.
The feeling that I got, sorry, from his series... From his series against Betrayus is that he wanted to head into the late game and he seemed confident in it, but got shut down hard in that late game. So now he's up against a Sen who's very good himself in the late game. He was a Brood War pro, one of the best outside of Korea. I think a good option here for GunGFuBanDa to go into is 3 base, 2 base timings and try and finish it. Because if he goes to the very late game, hive tech, transitions, he's dead.
He'll be tough.
He's dead. It's going to be hard. Let's take a look at the map pool now, because the players, as always, are just moments away from starting this. They've selected their maps. It's going to be Coda, of course, Cactus, of course, Terraform, of course. These are the 3 maps we've seen a lot over the last couple of days. Are these maps here that are going to be very easy for GunGFuBanDa to look to play that 10, 50-minute game and not let it get past that?
No, we constantly see, I mean, I actually just... I'm nowhere near the StarCraft II historian that a lot of these guys I'm working with are, but I already can mentally draw up like 5 GunGFuBanDa Coda PvZ games where it's always Stalker Sentry, take a fast third, absorb the defense from usually Hydra laying, and then either win or lose based on how well he handles that fight. That's actually also that map, to be fair. Sen likes to do those Hydra timings, so just pour out the Hydras, skip roaches. And then Cactus Valley, of course, it's going to get interesting there. It gets a little bit bigger, 4-player map. This is where I think Sen has some good options. Taking a third is hard there, and counterattacks are strong, which is what Sen really likes.
The thing about this matchup too is that Sen is capable of doing anything. He's very good with Mutas, he can go into the late game, he can play Roach, Hydra, Viper. So if you're GunGFuBanDa, a good way to think about this is to be like, instead of trying to scout it and adjust, I'm just going to do a 3-base Blink Stalker all in and try and finish it.
Okay, let's take a look at the predictions then before we go over to the commentators for this one. I actually can't remember what everyone chose for this one, but it is 6-2 in favor of GunGFuBanDa. In Control and Todd. That's you two. That's you. That's you and you have chosen Sen.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
Taking a new approach, I am really bad at this. So
good to see. Good to see you've admitted it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the numbers kind of at this point in time are telling it for me. But Kevin's pulled 2 ahead of me, and I'm hoping to reach up and just pull him back down into the basement. So I'm hoping for a bull kick.
Can I just extend on this and admit to you that I think we're all really bad at this, and then a few select guys are very lucky.
I think a few are very lucky.
You'll help me with this. With like Caleris and Nathanius leading us, it's like the man with one eye rules the world of the blind or something like that. I always butcher sayings, but man, when those guys are our leaders, StarCraft II is in need of help.
Nathanius at the top is definitely something we've already all agreed that's not going to stay.
No. Unless we're measuring heads or something like that.
It's not going to stay. Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to head to the commentary team for this one to see which way this is going, because one of these players, unfortunately, is going home.
That's right. Sen versus GunGFuBanDa here for a ZvP. And overall, I mean, these are 2 players from very different regions of the world and are very unlikely to have ever really known too much about one another, let alone actually be able to play one another.
Well, you know, GunGFu was still in the cradle when Sen was like winning championships. Like, these guys come from very different eras, and Sen has seen it all. He's been to BlizzCon 3 times in StarCraft II's history, every time placing top 6 there. GunGFuBanDa is kind of the new guy on the scene who's bursting into not just relevance, but really prominence. It's a really odd match, though. You've got these guys with no history together, and when they clash here, it's all going to come down to who's standing at the end.
Let's soon figure it out now in our elimination match of Group B, as we have GunGFuBanDa going up against Sen. First map, indeed, will be Coda. We have spawning down at the bottom right-hand corner. It is our blue Zerg representing Hong Kong Attitude. It is Sen. And up to the top left, we have our red Protoss representing Planet Key Dynamics. It is GunGFuBanDa.
Spawning in here on Coda, this is, of course, an elimination match, as is every single set today, which does make it such an exciting format. And you've got to keep in mind, both these guys don't want to be throwing it away, but what I find especially interesting about this match is the clash of styles we see. I mean, GunGFuBanDa is known for his aggression, right? This is a very aggressive player, loves to do some sneaky Dark Templar plays, lots of cute timing attacks. And Sen on the other side of things, I guess I see him as like one of these very old school players where he likes to really try to macro up very heavily.
Yeah.
But I feel like once he gets to the mid game, he doesn't really try to head towards Hive Tech. He's very like, stay on that Mass Roach Hydra, maybe add some Vipers in the mix, but it's all about the Zerg Swarm, throwing wave after wave at GunGfu. So you've kind of got GunGfu, who's got this very early game prominence, and then Sen, who in the mid game wants to finish it. And there does create a real clash of styles.
And it's an interesting thing that you bring up, because stylistically, if that is something that Sen is going to be bringing to the table here, GunGFuBanDa has a lot of experience against similar kind of styles in the German region, going up against Zergs like Lambo, for example, one of our most recent well, I was about to say EPS champions, but Meisterschaft champions. So that's definitely something that he may be able to consider here if he's able to spot similar nuances to him when he's going in towards that mid game.
Absolutely, and it's something where there are so many options available, and that's what is going to keep Sen on his feet. Of course, both these players at such a tense moment are going to be thinking about what are all of those options. GunGfu, no doubt, has running through his head what we've seen a lot from Sen in both the round of 32 and his previous games, where he loves to go for the fast 3-hatchery gasless play, likes to take a single gas, but not as fast as some of these European Zergs do. He likes to drop it about 30 to 40 seconds later. So he does get a Zergling speed at this kind of middling timing, which allows him to be aggressive. But if GunGfu does feel like doing some very early aggression, Sen's shown in the past that he does struggle against that.
Yes, he does. And for now, we are just having a second observer actually dropping out here. So hopefully our players keep themselves composed. And once that second observer is dropped, we will be able to get back into the game.
GunGfu just looks so nonchalant, even in, you know, he's like, this is a really important game, you know, I've got to do well here. But as always, these players staying very composed and cool under pressure. Of course, our fantastic, our new Graham, our new admin Jin there, just keeping the players up to date on what's going on.
It's like a sleeker, more aerodynamic version of Graham is what we've actually got now going on here in the World Championship Series.
Also speaks fluent Korean. He's actually a
very useful,
fantastic admin. Much experience working for Kesper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is one of those moments. I mean, I've been there many times as a player, and it actually is very important to keep focused in this situation. I know in the past, especially when I was newer to tournaments, I'd often kind of tilt in these scenarios. I'd be like, when are we starting? What's going on? What, someone else is lagging now? And you get thrown off. But GunGfu, we've seen in the past, he's got that almost Stefano-esque attitude. He doesn't care. He's just like, whatever. We'll just play the game when we play it, and I'll do my build, and I'll win money and points and fame.
And not afraid of dancing his units as well, that we actually managed to watch in the round of 32. But now we can get back into game number 1 here, as we already have this probe moving across it. It has been a gateway opener, so Sen doesn't have to worry too much about this. But right now, of course, he doesn't know what's going on the other side of the map.
GunGfu opening up very safe with a gate first, and a probe scout going to be coming across the map to check what's going on. Looking like he wants to be going for a gate into Nexus, so it's kind of one of those very middle-of-the-road economic openings. Meanwhile, Sen going for hatch first, and ooh, seeing this probe, he's still sending his drone to his third base. So even though Sen doesn't know if there's a forge or not, looking at that probe timing, he's saying, you're probably gone for the gate build, and I'm going to take the risk. And this is so Sen. He is so unafraid in his openings. He says, if you're going to cheese me, bring it on. I'm going to take the risk. And he goes for 3 hatcheries before pool. A fantastic ballsy opening from Sen.
Yeah, cheeky guy overall. Nexus is going to go down behind this, and it will be spotted instantly by that Overlord as it falls. But with that, I mean, is there any room to put any pressure on, like with a Zealot, or is there? I don't think he can really do much, right, against this.
Oh, well, GunGfu, he's put the Nexus down, but he's actually dropping a Reactive Forge. Rather than dropping his gases here, he wants to go for the Reactive Cannon Rush. But notice how he's not building any Zealots, and he's going to throw down the gases as the Overlord sees it to make it look like he's doing a normal build.
Yeah.
Now, if Sen's on point, he'll realize that gas is late, and he may actually think, But at the same time, GunGfu is already starting the pylon at the third base. All he wants to do is cancel the third. He's still doing an economic build at home, just a small commitment, and if he can cancel the third, it's fantastic. But he sees the forge! And this is where Sen is going to have to react so quickly. But with a cannon already down behind the minerals, what can he possibly do?
Yeah, very, very difficult to deny. Even if any units got over there, they would still just be thwarted by an extra pylon that would go down here for GunGFuBanDa if he's keeping his eyes on it. And yes, he is. So, but it's only a drone.
Creeps spread's going to come out though, so GunGfu, he needs to figure out if he's going to try to protect this. I need to put more cannons down, because if Sen can hold onto the hatchery and shut down the cannons with just Zerglings and Queens, which it looks like he's committing, then that's going to be huge. And with only 2 cannons, I'm not sure if this is going to be able to take the hatchery out for GunGfu.
14 Lings in production here for Sen. The probe's going to head on up. He sees a few other Lings, sees maybe a few more hatch here. And then once he's able to spot those...
Oh, yep, spots a few more hatching. He's got the information, so he knows, but he's already committed as much as he can. Because the probe goes down, looks like GunGfu is committed. He's going to say, okay, at least if I force enough Zerglings out, this should be okay. But Sen is committing a huge amount to hang on.
Yeah.
If he loses the hatchery, he is just incredibly far behind, because he's all these Zerglings. That's a lack of drones. He's got to get in there right now and shut this down.
All the Queens coming along to help this out as well. Going to go on towards the cannon. The second one's going to take some damage as well. They're focusing on towards that hatchery though. And will he be able to kill it in time? It's going to be very, very close. And it does go down just before the cannon gets cleaned up. Big pickup here for GunGFuBanDa.
Sen goes in just a few seconds too late. He misjudges it. GunGfu with the clutch call just focus fires the hatchery from the first second and takes it down. And that's a huge win for GunGfu.
I have to ask, wouldn't have going for the pylon have been more effective? In that, just shutting them down from being able to fire and stop them?
Maybe, but he did have huge surface area on the first cannon, so I can see why he kind of went for that with the original wraparound. A really tough call to make, but right now, Sen looking to do something with these Zerglings. He needs to try to get some value from them, because that is such a huge investment that's done nothing for him so far.
Good block off from GunGFuBanDa. 32 workers against 32 workers at the moment. As you say, with all of those Lings not being able to do anything, it's such a good point to bring up, because all of those Lings could have been so many more drones across those 3 bases. Alas, it is not. And now it's very, very even economically.
Fantastic opening here from GunGfu, really dictating the pace of this game so far, absolutely shutting down any usefulness these Zerglings are having, and it looks like GunGfu just dropping the gases in his natural at the same time, wants to be heading towards probably a 3rd base with Sentries and Stalkers, the very standard sort of playstyle. He's got his +1 on the way. GunGfu going into a very typical Protoss play, but from this position of advantage, and he realizes that Sen's options are now very limited.
Yeah, and I mean, who's really to blame GunGFuBanDa here if he tries to go towards the 3rd base, gets himself +2 and Blink up and running, has tons and tons of gateways, and is able to just power on across with that kind of critical mass Stalker play that we've seen before out of our European Protoss brethren. They've been able to make wonders work with that composition.
Looks like these Zerglings looking to poke around, but GunGfu just going to take that 3rd base. Sen opting for the Roach Warren in the lair behind this, going to be going into that Roach style of play and dropping a double evolution chamber as well. Looks like he does want to focus a lot on his ground army. He's shown in the past he loves the Roach Hydra based play, so I would, if I was a betting man, I'd say that's where he's going to be heading.
All right, well, already we have the Hallucinated Phoenix coming out here just to be able to keep eyes and tabs on exactly how far his opponent is in tech. Sees that the layers are on the way. See what he can find out in the natural. Sees that the 2 evolutions are just popping. So didn't quite see the Roach Warren towards the back, but I think he can pretty much infer that it's going to be a... I was going to say a ranged tile, but it's actually going into melee.
You know, actually, I guess seeing the delayed Evo chambers like this and next to each other, it may indicate that, because you do often see the kind of double evolution chamber at the same time with the melee style. Of course, no way for Sen to tell just yet, and he is going to push across the map, and he's going to try and pressure. He wants to just slow down Sen from adding on drones, but if we look at that worker count, Sen's caught up very nicely. He's gone right to 70 workers, and he's now trying to get Roaches out desperately because he wants to defend this pressure without taking any drone losses.
Into first person now as we see GunGFuBanDa trying to loop on around here, get himself creep denial. That's a good start of things. Even just trying to saturate his 3rd location, but throwing down extra gateways, completing those walls so he can't be vulnerable to any of those counterattacks. And at the same time, of course, this army is always got the insurance policy of being able to recall out. He just wants to continue to force these units out from Sen.
Oh, some force fields coming down, but doesn't get a lot with it, and that's a lot of Zerg units. I don't know if GunGfu can really push in.
Got to be very careful about that. Throwing down the Robo behind it as well here. With +2 and Blink still on the way. Infestation Pit's already gone down. And now, this is where GunGFuBanDa really needs good information as to what's going on there in regards to his opponent's setup, where the direction of this game is going. Because a lot of Roaches can often mean the opposite, but GunGfu needs all the intel he can get.
GunGFu being forced to retreat here. Sen is out for blood, wants to trap these units. Oh, it does stall for just a moment though, and it looks like GunGFu with his tactical retreat is doing very well, picking up a lot of speedlings as he falls back, but he's using up a lot of force fields, and this is a very fearsome number of roaches, so GunGFu needs to be a bit worried about the counterattack.
Yeah, and we'll recall out now. The longer it delayed the recall, actually, the more opportunity the roaches would have had to counterattack, because they would have been closer. But the Hive is morphing in. So is the Spire as well. +2 and Blink going down here for GunGFu. They're about to finish up. But again, still needs good intel. He flies in. He sees the Hive morphing in there with his hallucinated Phoenix, which is very important here.
What an important scout. Seeing no Hydralisks out, a large Zergling count. He knows exactly what's happening. And we do see a Templar Archives going down. GunGFu wanting to round out his tech maybe with some Storms, some Archons to buffer, and he's already adding Immortals into his composition to deal with these roaches. Of course, GunGFu, more of an early to mid-tier player though, may be uncomfortable. When we see Broodlords enter the fray in the near future, we already see an Infestor in production, and fascinatingly, a Hydralisk then out of Sen. That would be a really weird transition after you've already gone for this Zergling-based upgrades and this Broodlord play.
I guess he just wants all options available to him here against GunGFu, as he is posing a little bit of a threat outside towards this. Of course, there's the also the Warp Prism in production here that can try and buy him some time, but it looks like GunGFu is really not pressing any issues at all. He is just sitting around and waiting for things to happen to him.
Sen does realize how fearsome this army is. He doesn't have any upgrades on the roaches except for roach speed, and he doesn't have that many Zerglings out yet, so afraid of a timing, he's actually building Hydralisks right now. 13 Hydralisks, but no range upgrade them. For them, no range upgrade at all, in fact, and putting down an Ultra Cavern. Sen going in multiple directions with his tech. He seems a little bit unsure of how to deal with this pressure.
Yeah, and with this actually being sacrificed off basically this base completely, that's a really nice pickup here for GunGFuBanDa, who does start to press the issue. Even some Zealots towards the left-hand side. He sees a lot of Hydralisks popping down there, which could be a good sign that your opponent is panicking at this point.
Sen really is panicking right now. He had the numbers to handle this a lot easier by just reacting maybe with Zerglings. But GunGFu, look at his supply. He's only at 145. He's investing in upgrades, Storm, and tech at home right now. That was really a light pressure, and yet he got a fourth base, killed a few drones in the third, really limited Sen's ability to expand from here. And only now does Sen actually start the Great Aspire. It looked like it was his plan from early on, but what we're seeing from Sen is a lot of divergent tech trees that don't really complement each other. He's only now adding on Hydra range, but he's adding Ultras and Broodlords and a single Infestor. I'm not really sure if Sen's army is coming together just yet. A few minutes down the line, it's going to be fantastic, but right now, it's a little bit awkward.
When you've got one of everything, how are you supposed to counter it? You can't counter everything. Although sheer numbers might help. Yeah, I mean, if the Hydras and Roaches make the bulk of your army and they don't have any attack upgrades, that's a real bummer. And Sen, he's got the Ultras on the way. They will have 2-2. They will have Chitinous Plating in about 1.5 minutes time, so his army will be much stronger then. But it looks like GunGFu doesn't want to give him the time. GunGFu's at 175 supply. He has a lot of Storms in here, a lot of Immortals. This is a very scary army. Yeah, against Roach Hydra alone, and especially with the Hydras are hit by Storms, they will be shredded up very quickly. GunGFu pressing the issue, throwing down force fields, trying to cut things off, sees the Ultralisks on towards the third base here. They're currently isolated away. Time Warp as well as Storm does hit some of this army, and that is a very small paltry force on this right-hand side indeed, with a good Storm hitting in the middle of them. Ultralisk going to come from the back side here, but actually denied the movement forwards there by even just a sentry that was separated off forwards. Those two Ultralisks had nothing done.
Low numbers of units coming in piecemeal, a few at a time. GunGFu with the Zealot distraction on the south split the army in two, isolated half of it, destroyed it, and then cleaned up the other half when it came in too late. Beautiful maneuver from GunGFu. Sen falling apart a little bit underneath the pressure. He needs to try and remax, but look at how fearsome this Protoss ball is.
And now he sees the Great Aspire in this location as well. There's going to be the fungal growth down, but the concave here for the Protoss is good. The two Ultralisks are going to melt away at the front, and there are very few units left here for him. Aside from these Ultralisks that have actually just been able to swell up forwards, but as long as he's able to just blink back with some of these units, all the Ultralisks are going to fall again. Lings are going to filter through, but there's still too many Stalkers for him them to actually break this location.
Oh, those Immortals did so much work. They took out 3 or 4 of those Ultralisks very quickly, and now an Archon at the front, being the anti-Zergling cannon that he is. GunGFu is on top of Sen's production. There is no way for Sen to get his reinforcements together, and GunGFu is going to push in with the finishing blow.
Oh, even the Great Aspire falling is an odd choice to put it there. I mean, a little bit hidden, I suppose, if you're hiding in plain sight, but once this location gets breached, it is all done. GG, game number 1 goes to GunGFuBanDa here in this best-of-3 elimination match.
Decisive and strong play from GunGFu right from the start. The cannon rush putting Sen on the back foot, and as impressive as Sen's recovery was, GunGFu just showed he was made of sterner stuff. Sen going in a few too many tech paths, but GunGFu staying strong, reacting to what he saw, and just splitting Sen right down the middle.
All right, well, that was very, very well done there by GunGFu, who played it, I would say, patiently more than anything. Aside from, I mean, even some like small little reactions out of him to actually go for the reactionary forge. Not what I was expecting out of GunGFuBanDa, but a nice little kind of tweak to the build there for against Sen. For now, though, we are going to go to a short break, and when we are back, it will be game number 2 here from the World Championship Series between Sen and GunGFuBanDa. Welcome back to the World Championship Series here for game number 2 between GunGFuBanDa and Sen, of course, as right now Sen faces down Elimination here, Pig. And of course, we saw quite the wacky and wild game for a little bit there in the start of this, and really spreading his tech everywhere. What does Sen have to do to kind of knuckle down and really tighten the bolts up here on Cactus Valley?
Well, Sen really impressed me with how he played that game. I loved the ballsy 3-hatch opening. Even though GunGFu went for quite a risky kind of reactive cannon rush, like if Sen sent a drone down and scouted that, I mean, he could have stopped it, but even after that, he recovered and he was in a good position, but I think he needed to just be a little bit more focused in his game plan. Focus on that hive tech. You don't need to build Hydralisks. You can just, you know, commit to that path you're going. I think if he just stays strong and confident here, then he's in a fantastic position.
Well, it's time to dive in. It's going to be game number 2 here between Sen and GunGFuBanDa here on Cactus Valley to determine who moves on to the decider match here in Group B. So we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, it will be our blue Zerg representing Hong Kong attitude. It is Sen. Down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our red Protoss. Currently 1 game up, representing Planet Key Dynamics. It is GunGFuBanDa. I do like saying his name.
It's a fantastic name. One of the most mispronounced player names, but he is such a decisive player, and I was really impressed. I actually felt like that last game, Sen was heading to his comfort, well, one of his comfort zones, you know, adding in the hive tech and just kind of batter down GunGfu with like some Broodlords and Ultralisks mixed in with your Ro16, and I thought, oh, this is the stage where we saw GunGfu struggle so hard against Pet, but he kind of scouted what was going and immediately was like, all right, I'm just going to make Storm, add a few Immortals, and I'm going to push. I'm going to just charge in there, and he found it. An opening really well and pushed right through Sen's defense. I especially love, I think, one of the most exciting parts of GunGFu's play is his ability to distract Zerg players, always sending in those Zealot counterattacks right as he's pushing with his main army in another area, and that always seems to be where he opens up those holes in their defense.
Time for the gateway opener this time here for GunGfu, who is going to be checking cross spawns first of all locations. I was a little bit wondering as to where his probe was going to go, but it's going to head all the way over the other side here.
Interesting. You know, some people just prefer to scout that way because often the Overlord of the Zerg will come in, you'll spot this, and this will kind of rule it out for you exactly where he is. And I mean, it's up to Sen whether he chooses to show the Overlord. He doesn't. He actually pulls it back from the natural of GunGFuBanDa. So he's steering this Overlord kind of around. He's seen the pylon. He's saying, all right, I'm not going to show you where I am. So GunGFu's going to have to keep on scouting. Now, the difference with this opening that GunGFu's doing compared to last game is because he's getting that gas much earlier, he's going to have a much faster warp gate tech. He's going to be able to put on some potential aggression really early on.
Right, and third hatchery is going to go down here whilst GunGFu once again sends his probe in the incorrect direction, but obviously now seeing that neither of those locations were the case. He's ruled it on out, as well as this Overlord having shown itself. So there's nose down towards the bottom left, but at the moment, Sen is getting away with quite a lovely opening here, having plenty of economy to fall back onto.
Absolutely. I mean, Sen's opening up with a fast 3-hatch gasless, but if we look at Sen's Overlord, he has spotted the lack of gas in GunGFuBanDa's main base, and he sees no Stalker building here. So what he's looking for right now is, are you going to chrono boost that cybernetic score, and are you going to take that second gas? And interestingly enough, GunGFu actually building a Zealot out of his gateway, not a Stalker, not too worried about being scouted right now, but on Sen's side of things, he has to be thinking, are you going to chrono boost that Cybercore now that my Overlord's leaving? Are you going to hit me with a fast gateway attack? And this is exactly what GunGFu's starting to do. Not adding the extra gas means he wants to commit to a lot of Zealots in this potential attack. And Sen, on the other side of things, dropping a very oddly timed gas that's not really going to kick in time to help out against this.
Interestingly enough, I think something was clicked very close to the cybernetics core once again. It's not this Overlord that's got queued up. It looks like it might be the Zerglings, but there's no way they're going to be able to get in anytime soon. So that Overlord once again towards the north of that base is going to be the one that has to go back in there, and it is going to go back in there to try and spot exactly what's happening.
Oh, and the fourth gateway going down in the main. GunGFu going for the San gate. But look at this scout from Sen poking back in, checking the Cybercore, seeing that chrono boost. That's got to tip him off. He's going to go in for the full sacrifice. Oh, no, he sees the lack of gas miners there. Pulls back. He knows exactly what's happening. So right now, Sen is pumping extra queens, adding more Zerglings. He's got to figure out how is he going to defend this, because this is going to be a lot of Zealots warping in right on the doorstep of his third base.
I like this. Well, we're right back into Sen World, as you mentioned. San World, as you mentioned before, the San Gate, and this 4-gate Zealot pressure that we saw a long time ago in the World Championship Series. Now, one San, a very infamous Protoss in that regard, a lot of games, to the point where he almost had I think he did for a long time up until BlizzCon, 100% win ratio in this matchup. So it can be strong, but it's been figured out.
Yeah, it has, and the thing is, GunGFu knows it's been figured out to some extent, so because it's been scouted, he's actually added a second gas behind this, hidden on the back of his natural, and a forge, and he's actually not committing. He's chrono boosting probes, and this is the moment here where Sen sees it. Sen, on top of his scouting, sees the second gas, sees sentries at home, he says, hey, these aren't zealots outside my base. Instantly, we see Sen is going to probably start some more drones up in his production tab, seeing this extra gas as well. Sen will know that he's safe now.
One zealot gets swapped in to protect this, because he knows that that zealot itself is going to be pretty cost efficient against those zerglings for a moment at least, and then try and delay that from going down. So he's just trying to force out more of a reaction there from Sen. Not going to be falling for it though. Drones, drones, drones.
Now keep in mind, GunGFu has delayed his tech a lot. His +1's late, he's only got a few sentries, doesn't have a lot of energy, but in that worker count, he was ahead about almost 15 workers for a short moment there. So GunGFu has sacrificed his tech in order to put on the illusion of pressure while chrono boosting his probes like crazy. So this has given him an economy advantage. It's slowed down Sen a lot, but we see Sen is going to have map control with this mob of zerglings, and it's going to take GunGFu a while to secure his third base.
Yup, sentries are going to move out there for a moment with extra ones warping in here. So now Sen still drones, getting himself the layer on the way. Another pylon's been spotted up towards the top. Those zerglings will be able to shut that down, and he doesn't really need to make any more here. As much as GunGFu would have loved to have tried to move out with those sentries and then force out more units, there's already too many zerglings for him to ever do that.
I mean, it's great overlord positioning from Sen, spotting all these pylons, figuring out where it all is, but because all of those zerglings pulled back just to deal with a probe and a pylon, this nexus is allowed to go down, and this gives GunGFu a little bit of time to try and secure that, because if GunGFu can get this up, he knows Sen's being slowed down. He's going to be really happy, but he's going to need a solid defense here.
Gonna have to indeed. At the moment, there's only one pylon there. Needs to add on another one, and then wall and sandwich in a cannon eventually to make sure that nothing's going to be hit here at this location, because those zerglings still pose quite a threat unless he's right on top of being able to throw down those force fields.
Oh, interestingly enough, Sen behind this, not only has he been droning like a crazy person, saturating all three bases, but he's got the double Evo chamber, going for the infestation pit. Looks like he wants to tech towards Hive like he did in that previous game. Of course, he's just got to stay on tech this time around. And oh, the Zerglings coming in while all the sentries have left the base. Looks like he's going to go for that cancel.
Might be able to get it here. This army is way far out here, so this is quite ambitious, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe he was looking for this as a fake, but all the sentries alone...
Oh, running into the spine crawler. That is, taking so much damage. And the third base is going to go barely. Is it? Oh, wow. What a move from Sen. Forcing the cancel, defending the pressure with the spines. That puts him in a phenomenal lead right now.
Definitely has to be very, very careful at the moment. And I'm really surprised that he actually did lose one of those sentries over there at that location with that small move out that he went for. Now completing the wall off. Zerglings running in again here. The Hive is on the way, so it's 1-1 for Sen. It's all been spotted.
GunGFu sees the Hive. He sees Zerglings kind of throwing their numbers away a little bit, and there is no probes in the production tab right now. If we look at this, GunGFu, yeah, he's remaking the Nexus, but he's also making an extra gate and a Templar Archives. His +2 and Blink is lining up. So GunGFu, sensing the situation is in, he's saying, yeah, I'm behind, but guess what? You're being greedy right now. I'm going to add some Archons into the mix, and I'm just going to attack and kill you. As I say that, he does start up some probes and a Robo, so it looks like he might be having second thoughts and going back down the economic route.
I can definitely see your thought process, though, with how this all lines up, because it's not every day Hive is this early in this matchup. It's not every day you're going to be facing off against that higher tech with the lack of tech that you have on the other side here as GunGFu, so it has to feel a little bit pressure for sure.
Some big uncharacteristic gaps in his probe production is definitely going to slow down his build-up after losing that third. So GunGFu definitely feeling the pressure, but Sen on the other side of things, look at how much money he's banking. Sen not making up his mind on what he wants to build just yet, looking like he's just starting his Spire, he is starting his Ultra Cavern, and once again adding Hydralisk range. This is such an unusual tech path. Looks like he's basically saying, these Hydras are my insurance policy, but he has to make sure he doesn't overcommit to them like he did last game, because they do not have any upgrades.
Hallucinated Phoenix once again gets sent in. So even sees the spawning pool wiggling away, so he knows Adrenal Glands is going down, aside from trying to be able to spot the Ultralisk Cavern, and I think he may have done there with that Hallucinated Phoenix just now, so he definitely needs to put on the pressure. I mean, this is gathering up too quickly. here at the front.
That bank, think about how many Ultralisks we're going to see pouring out all at once. I mean, normally for the Zerg player, we were talking about it last game, if you're going for this Hive style, it's all about trying to survive until you can build your Ultras or your Broodlords. And this time, there's no Protoss anywhere on the map. Sen has opened up so much space for himself this game, and we are going to see so many of those Hive Tech units added into his composition in just a few moments.
I mean, with GunGFuBanDa now not moving out at all during this period of time where he's been able to spot this, it looks like he is just going to try and weather the storm. But you have to play so extremely well defensively here, surely, against the swell of units Sen's going to have.
Oh, absolutely. And GunGFu's one of these guys who excels in the tempo game, in the fast-paced game, and this is not going to be one of those games. I mean, Sen is going up towards that Death Army. It looks like GunGFu wants to do a similar push to last game. Oh, very nice Ling run by from Sen, actually hold positioning and getting 7 probes for himself.
Open into the main base, Spine Crawlers have been thrown down there, 9 Ultralisks in production here. If Sen could buy time for himself to get those out, that would be fantastic. One of them is going to pop out in the main base along with a lot of Lings. This force at the front though is going to feedback a few of these Queens, and actually that's a really good response to dealing with this kind of army, because those Queens were banking up energy, very valuable for Ultralisks once they get into the fight.
This push is looking fantastic, but it's so small. He needs to not get caught by these Ultralisks. He does still have a recall there, I believe. Yes, 2 recalls ready. So he can actually, he's got to get out of there.
No,
that's a lot of Ultralisks. You've got a recall right now, GunGFu.
You can't force field Ultralisks. That's not how it works. He drops the storms on the drone, so that's a really good pickup for him, and gets out of there. Wow.
Oh my god, the move from GunGFu, waiting to the last possible second, clears out the entire mineral line. The top side, he's also harassing up there, coming in from all sides, and he has decimated Sen's economy.
Wow,
GunGFu looking like he just made it happen with the tiniest possible army. Sen being so greedy, delaying his Ultralisks here. He's just being too patient.
It was the tiniest possible window there as well, with the Ultralisks converging on that location. As for now, he's out and about, but still, army supply in favor of Sen. He has 3 swarm hosts.
Wow, that's an odd choice. Maybe a misclick there. He doesn't have flying locusts on the way. They aren't really going to add in a lot to this composition. However, I mean, really, this is such a hard position for Sen.
Worth.
Worth that 600 gas. I mean, okay, like right now, just looking at the situation, Sen's rebuilding his economy. He wants to play the slow game. He doesn't want to just go full kind of attack with this army, even though he may be able to roll over him. That's a huge force. But, I mean, the challenge for GunGFu right now is can you really attack into this many Ultralisks? Do you just take a 4th base and sit back? It looks like GunGFu is saying, I want to try and kill you, but I don't know if he can do it against this many Zerg units.
What Prism's chilling out with the Ultralisk over to the left-hand side. We'll just clean up an Overlord or so down here. Sen's creep spread in the middle of the map has actually been quite nice, so that will give him any heads up toward those kind of attack angles. But one big important attack angle is down towards this kind of lower 3rd base location where the army is moving forward. So he doesn't really have much of a heads up aside from that Overlord that he did kill. These changelings are going to have to be the precursor to this army actually being moving forwards.
The changelings see everything. This is still quite a small ball. There isn't that much meat in front of it. But once again, it's GunGFu. It's all about the harassment at the same time as the army, pulling him out of position up the top. And the main army starting to thrust through. He's going to try and launch his way in here and abuse this choke point. Sen cannot attack into that choke. Yeah. This is a fantastic abuse of positioning by GunGFuBanDa.
Especially if he can keep the Immortals alive behind the gateway units here. He's actually hallucinating a lot of Archons there to try and tank up some of the damage. A brilliant move here from GunGFuBanDa. Is it going to be able to work out? Looks like it's doing a lot of work. Indeed, the Ultralisks melt away.
Absolutely nothing to buffer, no blinding clouds or fungals to support. The Ultralisks on their own are destroyed by the Immortal Archon combo.
Where are the 5 Broodlords? There are 5 Broodlords morphing in. It doesn't have that much anti-air to be able to deal with those, but he actually finds 2 onto the left-hand side with the small number of Stalkers that he has, and they're eventually going to get chipped away at. But he's done so much damage aside from these Broodlords morphing in. There you go, GG. GunGFuBanDa takes the series 2-0.
Such precise play. Once again, looking like he was finding himself in a hard position at multiple points in that series, yet always finding his way out of it, always attacking in multiple places at once, and always finding the openings. Yeah. GunGFu, once again, just forcing the victory.
Really well done there from GunGFuBanDa as he keeps himself alive. At the same time, though, Sen is now eliminated here from the World Championship Series. We'll head over to the analysis desk to see what our lads think over about that series.
Thank you very much, James. A good 2-0 for GunGFuBanDa. A little bit disappointing there for Sen, but the German advances, Todd.
Yeah, he did the job in the end, and I didn't expect Sen to play this greedy in, you know, taking a big risk, not starting units for this long, and I think that's why I predicted him to win, but in the end, played a little bit risky here and got punished for it.
I mean, to be honest, and I'll just say this once because it's not good to focus on the negative, but it was quite poor by Sen, I thought. I mean, and that's kind of what we've seen. It's been like pretty sharp, great mechanics from him, or not a super good game. And I felt like in this was an unimpressive showing of him. But I think a tip of the hat is in order for GunGFuBanDa. The young man had his back up against the wall, is facing a very good Zerg. We saw some great ZvP from Sen back at Burbank in the round of 32. Unfortunately, we didn't see it here, but he was able to take care of business.
It's a good warm-up, though, leading into the next match. GunGFuBanDa's stretched out those fingers on the keyboard, but he goes up against a very difficult opponent in Snoot next.
Yeah, absolutely. Snoot, who's going to know him a lot better than Sen did, and obviously they play on the European ladder, so there's going to be all that meta come into play, and I think he's going to play a huge role with the upcoming series. I was actually watching with Snoot, so I heard a lot on what he thought, and it was already very interesting.
All right, well...
well, save it, please.
Yeah, please,
don't
Todd.
share it now, Todd.
Let's check in with the bracket, as unfortunately we've lost one of the players again today. We've lost 2 before, now another one is eliminated. It is Sen, which leaves us with 1 match left now in Group B. As already mentioned, it's going to be Snoot versus GunGFuBanDa in a game which a lot of people are going to be looking at. Germany takes on Norway in this one. It's going to be an exciting one. When we come back, we're going to go straight into it.